Everybody, I'm Dr. Karen Mikowski, aka Butterfly Karen. Welcome. So welcome to this just little table chat. It's regards to dimensions. So today I want to discuss my stance on dimensions, my experiences with dimensions. Very complex sort of field, a scientific field. I mean, I'm obviously, because I specialize in parapsychology. For me to sort of get data, I have to I mean, it's one thing theorizing, but in order for me to test theories, I have to find ways to measure data. I have to find ways to prove it, and it's very hard. So what I tend to do is I will push the limits of the mind, because I understand the mind. I will push the limits of the mind when working with consciousness, and I will actively get involved in, that's part of my research, is to do what I do. So it's very hard, it's very complex, but I absolutely love it because it's part of transcendental meditation. Now, dimensions. What are dimensions? I don't really want to give a massive broad down talk on the universe and things like this. There's so much, just the basics of the universe, but dimensions are, it's all to do with consciousness anyway, but like, this is 3D. It's physical life we live in, this physicality, this life we live on this earth is the third dimension. So obviously then you have like 1D, 2D, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now each dimension, it's understanding how to sort of, trying to find the easiest way to explain. So think of, I mean, there's much more beyond the here and now. I mean, as a metaphysical scientist, it's hard to sort of, I don't want to get into the physics side of it, but I'm more to do with sort of quantum entanglement, sort of everything is non-local, but there's still a connection to the physicality. I mean, I don't really want to go into it, but it takes too long to explain. So I want to try and keep it as basic as possible. But dimension to me is like, it's like just what, going beyond the veil. So this is 3D, okay? Right there is like, I mean, when I'm going up to 12D or I'm going down to 1D, the higher dimensions for me, it's not up or down, they're sort of around us, they're everywhere, but it's just tapping into those dimensions. But I have this habit of going, I'm going to 9D tomorrow because the higher means it's up, the lower means it's down, that's all. So, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going, it's down, it's just the dimensions are lower than where we are now, 3D. So, but again, I'm not discussing anybody else's stance or beliefs or anything like that on dimensions. I'm only discussing mine and my experience with it. And I've been working within different dimensions for years. This is really nothing new to me. So I'm always gathering, when I go to those dimensions, I'm always gathering intuitive intelligent data of what I'm interacting with, what I'm receiving telepathically, feelings, everything. All of my clair abilities are active. So clairsentience is an important one, obviously. Clairvoyance. I mean, depending on what intuitive intelligence is going to be available for me, it might be a foresight. It could. So again, it's understanding when you're tapping into different dimensions, you have access to a different set of realities. It's not the reality we live here because it's completely different. Could it be the future? Could it be the past? Could it obviously be the present? I guess that's all to do with your intention, because it doesn't matter when you're doing transcendental, when you're actively in transcendental meditation, whatever you want to do, you've got to make the intention. So if I was going to connect to 6D, okay, today I want to go to 6D. I want to see my future of me, what I'm going to be doing in the next 3 years. Now, be careful what you're wishing for, because in 3 years I might not be there. Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. Fate is always changing, but I mean, we do have a death date. But again, depending on sort of how you live your life, or staying on your path, your death date can sort of alter and change depending on what you're doing in this life. I mean, nothing's truly set in stone, but we all sort of have a path. Why do I feel like this is going to be really hard to explain? And I'm trying to keep it short as well, because unfortunately we live in a society today where people have got the concentration span of 5 minutes, and that's really embarrassing for a species like us. That's amazing. And I guess when you understand the human species and what we're actually capable of, I would say 80% of the population have no idea what their minds are capable of, because they are so enslaved and suppressed and mind controlled and everything. So obviously I'm not the sort of doctor that's going to be reaching out to those sort of people anyway, because they need to wake up in their own time. But they don't have an understanding of anything more than this 3D reality, and it is not even real, most of it anyway. So, but that's just my opinion. That's just my stance. I'm not interested in anybody else's opinions. I'm only interested in mine, and this is why I'm only discussing what my thoughts are on this and what my experiences are. Everybody else's experiences on different dimensions are completely different. Like I hear people telling me, yeah, when I go to sort of 7D, it's all lights and it's like a magical heaven. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I mean, every different dimension does look and feel a bit different, but that's not necessarily what I'm seeing or experiencing. I mean, I'm there for the intuitive intelligence. I'm in there for the higher sources. Now, what I found from my experience is I can't prove it, and I'm hoping that the more data I gather will prove it. That's why I became a paranormal scientist and a parapsychologist. But what I find is on each sort of dimension, higher dimensions, the intelligence of the sources is more advanced. Now, could there be humans in a different timeline? Quite possibly. I mean, I'd have to sort of really go into timelines at some point, but timelines we should always be jumping timelines anyway. I'm always jumping timelines. But could I be jumping timelines in each dimension I go on? Very, very possible. So could the sources or species on those dimensions, could they be us? It's very possible, but I don't feel like they are. And some of the visuals I've sort of seen, they're not like us, put it that way. They're different sort of species, but again, just because we've been sort of educated to think that we're the only sort of human living species, like human, I don't think. I'm sorry, I stay away from mainstream science, and I don't really listen to scientists that are very well funded to debunk. That's it. They have their specialized areas and what they really specialize in, and that's fantastic. I just leave them to it. But I don't like the sort of arrogance. I mean, we've got some of the greatest minds, we always have, but there's no way I'm going to be arrogant enough as a human being to think that, one, we're the only species ever of high intelligence. We can't even evolve properly, 80% of us. So that's incredibly embarrassing, and that's very debatable. So everything is debatable. Everything is questionable. Now, physics and things like this, yeah, life is everything is mathematics sort of thing. I understand that everything's numbers. Synchronizations are to do with numbers, but that's not it. Now, it may be it for those sort of scientists or those people that believe in just the mechanics of life only, but that's not where I go. I go beyond that. I understand consciousness, and I work within the consciousness. So consciousness is everything that's around us, and that's part of the dimensions. Now, when you're tapping into different dimensions, it feels like, okay, I feel like this high source of consciousness. I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but it feels different. But it's all to do with how you, again, with your intention. So like if I was going to go 60, and I need some intuitive intelligence of where we're, I don't know, codes for any reason. Or if I'm just there to receive intuitive intelligence, it might not be necessarily what I want. It could just be what the sort of sources on those dimensions feel we need as a collective, or certain scientists or certain people on this planet that need. So if I'm there, they're going to make the most of me, like I'm going to make the most of the experience on that particular dimension. Like I want the data, and I want the understanding. I want to know what it feels like. I want the seeings, because I need the proof, and I have to find a way to prove it. But they're going to take advantage of, well, not an advantage, but they're going to it's an opportunity for them to use me as a messenger. Like, okay, well, thanks for logging on to this dimension. Like, thanks for clicking in, sort of thing, and Thanks for coming online, because that's kind of how it feels too. Because it's all mind travel. And they're going to give whatever data they need to give to certain people who it's needed to go to here on Earth on 3D. They're going to give it to me, as long as you're trustworthy. They know who the trustworthy people are. Now, a lot of people, when I'm talking about dimensions instead of interdimensional travel and things like this, and interdimensional, I mean, this is like our meat suits, but we're all living a human experience. So who are we? What is our true DNA? Where do we truly come from? Because I believe our DNA originates from different planets. I really do. I feel like but that's only my thought. That's only what I believe. It's not to do with what anybody else believes. But a lot of people know I believe there's like 128, at least 128 known sort of species, alien species that a lot of people are aware of. And I'd have to get my list out at some point. I'll probably do a different video on that. But I mean, my experience alone, when I go to higher dimensions, especially during my NDE, that was a deep, deep state of consciousness. So I was having a 45-minute interaction. I mean, I was measuring time while I'm under anesthetic. So that's how powerful the mind is. But I was measuring time, I was measuring the interaction I was having, everything. And I was with a species that were probably known now as probably the Acturians or possibly the Lemurians. But I felt, it felt very Acturian. So, and that would make sense for someone like me, because I'm a healer and I'm constantly connected to consciousness. I understand it, which everything that they sort of do and represent. But then again, I feel like there's a part of me, there's a part of different sort of species. So it's weird how I question, where does our DNA, is it just from one species? Probably not, and then how advanced you are as a human being as well, how advanced your mind is. But I feel like I do have a strong connection to the Acturians. Again, can we prove this? Not right now. But a lot of people believe in a galactic federation, which is to sort of oversee what all species are doing, and in the galaxy and the universe and things like this. So there's kind of an order to everything. I know that anyway. But then again, when I sort of go to when I go to 12D, it's not a lot. I mean, I've been a few times, but it's more like a sort of, it's in space, but I feel like I'm in a white room. And there tends to be a lot of different types of species. So it's almost like there's, it's like a meeting. This is the easiest way for me to explain it. It's like having a meeting, going online, having a meeting in a white room, with, very, very highly intelligent different species, but they all look different. They all have their own sort of language and everything. But everything's telepathic. Like, everybody's communicating in our own sort of mother tongues, but we all sort of understand. And, there's not just me there. Like, usually when there's other people there, like other humans, and it's like, interesting. So if I was ever to cross paths with those people, I probably know their energies. But they're getting sort of the same data as me, or it's like we're part of a meeting. So that's become normal, and that's not normal, obviously, but it's become normal. It's become a normal practice for me. So I get a lot of sort of, again, different downloads, and I don't necessarily need to go to 12D for that. I mean, well, yeah, for that sort of stuff I do. That feels like a monthly meeting, like a monthly staff meeting. That's kind of like, I have a joke with myself, like, I feel like it's a staff meeting on 12D today. Here we go. It's kind of like that, like you would here. But here we go. We've got a staff meeting with all the uppers, well, like VPs and things like that. So that's exactly what it feels like. But these highly, they're not. There is an order, and to me, that's what I would call a divine order. Some people have different experiences and different dimensions, so they may view it very differently to me. That's perfectly okay. Everybody has a different experience on different dimensions. Now, if I want to tap into 5, I'm always tapped into 5D, even when I'm functionalizing here on 3D. But if I want to go to 6D, 7D, all I'm doing is connecting my mind to that dimension. And I've mastered it now, where I can it takes me a few moments to just get into the zone that I need to get into, and I'm there. So I can still be doing this, but I'm connected. My mind is connected to 6D, which means downloads are going to start coming in. Downloads, depending on how big the download is or the data that's coming through, it may take a few minutes to come through, or it may take a couple of hours, depending on how big the download is. Again, think of yourself as a computer. So, and this is like, I've got a very big memory. Obviously, I've got like terabytes of, I can bring in the downloads, put it that way. So again, if I feel like I'm sort of interacting on a different dimension and I'm not getting the down, oh God, that feels like a big download. I'm going to have to remeditate on that later on, because it means there's a lot more data, and it's going to take a lot more than a few minutes for it to sort of come in and then naturally come out. So that's what it's like. I know a lot of people that have almost the same experiences like me, but at the same time, every single person's different too. Every single person's mind connection to different dimensions is different. I mean, some experiences are not always pleasant, but some are amazing. Like when I go to 4D, I use that for working on cold cases. I'm not quite sure why, but I feel like there's a higher influxation of victim energy that hasn't moved. It's kind of like stagnant. So to me, 4D is like a slightly darker space between 3D and 5. So it's like a transitioning dimension where the soul needs to transition from 3 to 5, but kind of stops there, like it gets stuck, or usually there's stuff left unsaid and done and things like this. Or the victims, or they can't move on for some reason. Now 2D and 1D, to me, I go to them a lot, and usually it's just when I'm sort of looking for sort of like lost souls, because they're very low. That's dense, and that's a dense dimensions to me, denser energies. There's a lot of darker energy down there. Could be negative, but it's more dark space. That's it. So, but again, other people that go to those lower dimensions, they might have a completely different experience there. Some people say to me, yeah, I went to 1D, but it looked like hell, like it was burning infernos. That could, again, your perception of what you perceive hell to be could be completely different to what somebody else perceived it to be. That's all. So a lot of people that have near-death experiences, they come back and say, I didn't go up, I went down. That's the only way they can explain it. But what they're not understanding is they're just moving from this third dimension to another dimension. But again, because it's like, it feels like you're going lower. And so it's really hard to explain but some people do say, yeah, I did not like that experience. I just felt, and other people tell me, I've had a near-death experience, Karen, where I was in this really dark space. There was nothing, but I could hear everything. I could feel anger, I could feel pain, I could feel violence, and I was getting attacked by other beings that were there, souls were, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like, that would be my definition of hell. But that's kind of what I sort of feel is going on the first and second dimension anyway. So usually when I go there, I don't spend a lot of time there, because I'm usually trying to find lost souls that don't belong there. Or if I'm like annihilating demons, light force, just why not? Right? But that's usually when I'm tapped in as a minister. But could have a sense of humor about this sort of stuff. But other than that, regardless, I tend to, like I say, when I sort of tap into the fourth dimension, that's usually where I connect with a lot of victim energy of cold cases. But again, also, remember, energy is energy. Energy doesn't die. It moves to a different dimension. It doesn't matter whether an energy is living or not physically living in the third dimension anymore. We all have a frequency. Our soul is our literal energetic frequency. So when you learn how to tap into frequencies, you can connect to that frequency. That person might still be alive, just at the other side of the world. Or if I'm working on a missing persons case, I'm going to tap into that person's frequency. 9 times out of 10, depending on how long they've been missing, I'm probably connecting to energy that's on 4D, which means they probably passed over. If that energy is still alive, I'm going to see it on 3D. Now I'm going to gather different data. So you're talking streets, you're talking buildings, you're talking everything I can see around me. in the hope that we can find that person, because energy is a frequency you connect to. You just got to learn how to connect to people's frequencies. We are sort of all interconnected anyway. And that's, so when you go to higher dimensions, like 6, 7, there's different species there, there's different sources. I don't really like to call them species because it feels a bit insulting. I call them sources, like higher sources. It's like speaking about a human being. Oh yeah, I like to connect to that person because they've got a higher intelligence level, right? I like to talk to those people. That one's an interesting person. It's like that. Or I'm going to go and speak to this person because I feel like I can learn a lot from that person, or there's a lot they can teach me. That's exactly what it's like. But for me, it just feels like I've got a job to do. So every sort of dimension I connect to, whether it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, pretty sure that's just sort of within our universe, but our sort of galaxy, space and time. But you can, I mean, when you develop sort of transcendental meditation and how to connect to consciousness and tapping into it, it's all to do with the mind. It's like mind travel, but it's incredibly good for you anyway. Meditation's good for you, regardless of whether you're into meditation or not. It's very good for your health and well-being. So I'm always encouraging people as a healer, because I'm a physical energy healer. I can do Reiki, and I do Reiki. I'm a Reiki master teacher, but I'm a physical healer. So I have my own sort of healing modalities and everything. But it's really good. Meditation is really good for the health and well-being. So I'm always encouraging that. Now, when I use my healing modalities too for even when I'm going to connect into different sort of dimensions, there's a good chance I may have to use my healing I may have to implement my healing into it, my abilities. But then again, I could be going to different dimensions and gaining more. So that's why I feel like I'm always, when I talk about, I've got a new spiritual gift, it's like that, because everything's through the spiritual realm. This is part of the spiritual realm, but interdimensional dimensions, etc. Everything's all to do with spirituality. It's under the realm of spirituality. So, but that who's to say that new ability, that gift, hasn't been given from a different higher source, from a different dimension? Because I'm always sort of upgrading and graduating. Okay, there's another test, because we're always being tested. It doesn't matter how much you highly ascend in the mind, and you are always going to get tested to see if you're going to abuse your abilities and how you're going to use them. And this is why I always say to people, don't abuse them, because you can lose access to them. You can get blocked, because regardless of what we arrogantly think as a human species, that's not quite evolving, right? Those higher sort of sources on different higher dimensions, they're more powerful than us, and they are more advanced than us, and they can just sort of shut us down in a second. Like, I will say this: understanding the higher sort of dimensions and what I'm connected to. We're always being monitored. You think we have a problem with CCTV created by man-made spy equipment and stuff like that? This is why I don't have a problem with it. This is why I accept these. My camera, my phones, everything is a spying machine. Yeah, of course it is, and we created it, right? To spy on each other. But if you seriously don't think we're being monitored by higher dimensional sources, you're absolutely delusional. Where do you think a lot of these human beings get a lot of this technological information and data from? There's no way in a space of 10 years we advanced as fast as we did technologically for an unevolved mind. I don't think so. But that's just my opinion on that. Because I understand some of the data I get. I look at it and I go, what on earth is that? That's not for me, but that's for somebody that's working on something. And that's very advanced. So that's why I know we do get a lot of highly intuitive intelligence from higher dimensions and higher advanced sources. Now, obviously that's me as a scientist, and I enjoy connecting to different higher sources and different sources on higher dimensions. I'm a scientist. As a parasite, that's what I do as a parapsychologist. Now, what I do as a minister, there's a higher, the Most High So I understand that too, that there, again, because I understand there's a higher order to everything. I respect the Most High. I feel like I'm in service to people for the Most High. Could that be God, the God Almighty? Could that be? Of course. I mean, it's very possible. Everything's possible. But do I believe it's higher? It's everything though. It's not just like, it's not a man. It's not a physical man. It's not like, hi, you're like the King of all kings. I mean, obviously Jesus he was a man, but I'm talking about the Most High. So there is you can have faith without having a religious faith. This is where we start having problems with religion, because religion's man-made, first of all. I do love I love a lot of the biblical scriptures. I always have done, even as a child, but I questioned everything because I feel like it wasn't just biblical. A lot of everything is not just, my faith is not based on religion. It is based on the whole world, the universe, the highest of all high orders. I feel it. There's more to these different realms. And a lot of them are not human. But then again, if you're a true God-loving Christian and you believe in the Bible, then neither are angels. Angels are not human. That's a different species, right? See where I'm going with this? People believe in demons. Demons are not human. They are a species. They're a completely different species to us, but they exist, and that's what people fear. So if angels and demons exist, you had to accept they are not human. They're of a different species. So that's why, if something can't be proven or completely seen, or it's hard to understand, it's just easy to dismiss them, isn't it? But I find the problem with religion is they don't have a problem believing in angels, but they have a problem believing in actuarians, archangels, actuarians. Who's to say they're not the same thing? Every different species could be a slightly I mean, even again, when you go to, if you were to understand, you have to go right to mythology and everything, but there's so many different species. And a lot of them were here long before we were. A lot of them have been here from the dawn of man, depending on what you believe in. So, and that's why I believe our DNA comes from a very obviously external dimensions. I do. Planetary systems, I do. But that's just me. I have a right to believe in what I want, as everybody does, but it's just, I can't prove it. No, people can't prove to me angels exist unless I see one. I mean, the closest I got to seeing an angel was a different species looking up. I mean, it could have just been hovering, but I had to look up, and it was obviously, there was this beautiful, amazing white light. I talk about it in the video, The Warning, or you can read my ebook, The Killing Evil. But it came to me, this particular species came to me with wings, but they weren't quite wings, because they weren't like massive white, they were like quite small. But they came to me in that way so I wouldn't fear them, because we all understand, angels are really cute, angels are lovely, angels, will look after us, of course. Well, a human being's natural ability is to fear anything that's not normal, that we're not used to seeing. But I wasn't afraid. I just remember thinking, wow, what is that? Oh my God. But then you have to tap into feeling, because that's when you'll know whether you're going to fear something or not. Because when you feel love, you're not going to fear love. When you feel debt, when you feel like, oh my God, that feels evil, that's going to hurt me. Now you're going to have to go into sort of like flight and fight mode, depending on even what dimension you're on. It's like, so fear to me is a natural reaction for humans to fear most things, but a lot of stuff that we sort of fear today, and this fair dimensional reality, is created by men and women. It's created by evil people, and evil is a choice, not a condition. So, and I'll say that to my dying day, I don't care. But this is what people create to create fear, so they can keep their minds feared. They'll keep their minds enslaved. Well, I don't have a mind that's fearful at all. I don't have a feared mind. So I don't fear anything. So my mind's not going to be controlled. I'm not part of the 80% of population that's fearful and controlled and asleep at all, or mind-washed and brain. No. I'm part of the 20%. It could be a little bit lower or higher, give or take, but we are wide awake. We are evolved. We are the ones. We are the human evolved ones. But again, each sort of dimension is, again, it's very different. So like I say, when I go to 12, it's like I'm going into that. It feels like it reminds me of a spaceship. Because it's like a white room, and it's like I'm looking out of windows and I'm in space, and it's like, I'll tell you what, Star Trek and the sort of, Star Wars, all those movies were based off a reality that somebody experienced. To come up with that, they were not far off, but to come up with that sort of creativity, like, where on earth did you get that idea from? The idea came from someone's experience, and somebody experiencing dimensions, and probably, I mean, a lot of people call it the Galactic Federation. It could be called something completely different, but I'm just going to go what other people tend to. More people I speak to tend to refer it to the Galactic Federation. So I'm going to stick with their sort of stance on that. But yeah, there's no way. I understand. The truth has always been there. It's just because it's been given to us in entertainment, through the entertainment sort of industry. We're not going to believe it's true because it's entertainment, because that's what our little small minds, our little left brains have been forced to believe. Oh, what can you? I wonder if that would ever be true. Already is, but you're going to question it because you saw it in a movie or on TV. So that's called programming. They're programming you to believe the truth they're showing you, but disbelieve it because it's an entertainment, so it can't possibly be true. Anything that's shoved in my nose and shoved in my visual. Like if I got to sort of watch something and I'm like, hello there. Wow, I feel like I'm being programmed here. Anything that I'm shown, I'm going to believe the opposite. I'm going to believe I'm going to believe if they're trying to tell me this isn't real, I'm going to believe it's the truth. I don't watch reality TV shit. That is the biggest distraction, and that is the easiest and fastest way to keep people, oh my God, Megan, and hooray! Get a grip and get a life. It's all fake. I don't care what type of reality TV show it is, anything that is put together, manipulated, I don't really care. That's just my opinion. But anything to do with reality TV is fake for a reason. The entertainment industry is fake. Right? So now you want to throw some fake reality TV shit in? I'm going, no, I'm going to watch that crap. No. But that's the fastest way to keep people like, let's suppress another million that are suddenly trying to wake up. Let's re-suppress them. Let's put these ones back to sleep. We can't have that. Watch my magnificent system to understand that. But I discussed so many different things in different videos. Now, why do I go to higher dimensions and different dimensions? Again, for the intelligence, the intuitive intelligence, but again, because it's stuff that we need to help us evolve the collective. So we have a right to life under natural law. Every single human being that is born with free will and will die with it. You can suppress it along the way if you want to, or allow it to be, but you were born with free will and you will die with it. And you have a right to life. You have a right to live. You have a right to have a free mind. And nobody on this planet is free unless your mind is free. The one thing that the system does not want is people having free minds, because you will learn to live differently. You will learn to not rely on, you'll not be codependent on your government, put it that way. I mean, that's some serious codependent shit right there, isn't it? But we need to be told what to do. We need to be told what to think. We need to be told what to eat. We need to be told what to see. Systemization at its finest right there. So this is a lot of intelligence I get, a lot of intuitive for the collective. It's how to snap out of that. Like, my job is not to wake people up, but my job is to deliver the information that I'm given from and higher sources on higher dimensions to try and help those ready to receive an awakening or a spiritual awakening, because it is very spiritual anyway, but to receive information, just to even look into, to research, right? And to help with the wake up process, because it can be ferocious for some people. It can be easy for others. Like, again, I feel like I've been having spiritual awakening since the age of 3. I don't know what it's like to not have one. I'm constantly going through dark nights of the souls, and that's perfectly normal. It's part of our human experience. The higher you ascend, the more you want to learn. You're going to go, again, constantly retest. I'm always getting tested to make sure that I haven't gone to the dark side, I haven't sold my soul, and I'm doing good with my abilities. Otherwise, I'm going to lose it all. So I'm not going to spend my adult life and my whole life learning how to grow and to evolve and to have this amazing view on completely different realities that most of us don't, 80% don't know about. But I'm not going to fuck all that up. All of that teachings that are not taught in the classroom, all of these amazing experiences I've had, I'm not going to, and these abilities I've got, you serious? I'm not stupid enough. And I'm not dumb enough, that's it, to abuse them in any shape or form, to lose them now. Are you joking, right? I understand how this world works. I understand what I need and what I don't need. If I want something, okay, I really won't mind that. I want that. Okay, well, go and earn it. Find a way to get it. Make it happen. That's what I do. I understand what I need there. I'm a highly advanced woman with a humble nature and a humble soul. I know what it's like to have nothing and still rise. I know what it's like to have everything and still fall. That's the Wheel of Fortune. So, and that's a people problem. Unless you're just stupid. You're just stupidly wasteful. But if you don't understand, I don't want to get into the whole like fair dimensional low vibing people, because I'm sick and tired of them. They're everywhere. That's what's wrong with society. I'm talking about how I advance, how I always have everything I need, and I'm still able to highly advance. And it's all about being in service to people and giving back, right? But the beautiful thing about learning, really evolving and ascending, and I'd love everybody to do it. I said in my other video, I would love to see a future full of Sigma females and Sigma males, because Sigmas are very highly advanced, highly intuitive. They've woken up and they don't follow the norms and all of that status quo crap. So I would love to see that, because if I was to see a new generation of Sigmas in male and Sigma females and Sigma males, I know we're starting to evolve amazingly, but we're nowhere near that. So, but I'm sorry, I've got a download, because I'm what I'm talking about. I've got a download coming in. Do I need my pad? It's not like I wasn't expecting it. Let me just get my download. See how long it feels like it's going to take too long to come in. I'll let it flow by. But okay. Well, that's not making no sense. I'm going to let that bypass. I'll come back to that. Okay. So that'll probably be part of another video. No, I would love to see, the more we advance, what you have access to when you sort of learn how to tap into the sort of different dimensions is you can time travel. Like you can use the intention. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't alter time. You can't go back to the past and start changing stuff. No, because it's already done. But that doesn't mean you can't go back. You can travel back to the past to, if you're ready if you're ready to work on certain types of past traumas, you need to have a mind ready for that, because you can use that as a way of healing. I don't highly recommend that unless you're working with somebody that It's a hard one because most therapists don't really believe in that. This is what I'm talking about anyway. So most wouldn't even be able to help you with that. But you can find doctors like me or that can help you with regression, but you've got to be ready for that, because when you're doing like past regression and things like that, again, the intention is to go to the past. So if you're trying to visit a trauma that you experienced and you've gone through the whole compartmentalization and you want to sort of go back to the beginning of it, it's a very complex. You've got to be ready for that. But there is ways to heal with that. For me, I don't necessarily go back to the past because the past is already done. It can't be redone. It can't be, and it's already, it's already written. So I like to focus up. I don't mind tapping in and seeing what's in the future, the present, like what is going on around me. Well, then I'm just going to sort of see what's happening around me. Who's plotting? What's going on here? That sort of thing. Like, is there something? Are there any blockages in my path that I just need to move? Right. The mind's amazing; it can do so many things. But I like the idea of just sort of like having a quick peek into the future, because am I on path? Have I come off path somehow? Did I deter? And I don't like to go too far in the future, but you'd be amazed at what those dimensions can sort of give us. It's accessible to us all, but you've got to be ready to. If you're going to do all of this, you've got to be ready. You've got to have a very strong mind anyway, and then you've got to remember you might encounter different species you're not used to seeing, so it would naturally freak you out. You just got to remember, if you're going into a higher dimension or a totally different dimension, and you're telling yourself, I want to meet different sources, I want to communicate with different species and different, that's your intention. So don't be too freaked out and shocked if you come across them and go, what the heck, it might scare you. But if you go into that with an open mind and knowing, I'm probably going to cross paths with something in this dimension that looks completely different to me, right? It could be a completely different species. I've never been educated to understand. It won't freak you out as much. You probably get a bit of a, and then, okay, well, that's kind of how it is for me though. When I'm in the presence of a different species and I'm like, oh God, I have that still, but that's perfectly normal. That's a normal human reaction. But then it's all to do with tapping into that frequency, because now you're connected to a different frequency in a different species, right? Energy is energy. It doesn't matter what the species is. Energy is energy. You're connected to that frequency of that energy. So, and if you're in the presence of something you don't fully understand what it is, or it looks really weird, or what the actual one of those, go with your gut. Like, is this going to harm me, or is this going to be interesting? Like, is my life at threat here? Ask the question: is this a threat to my life? And if you hear yes, just all you need to do is pull back, right? And you're back to your body. That's it. Because you might have just gone to a slightly lower dimension you weren't planning on going, right? Because that's where you'll meet a lot of that kind of crap anyway. But if you hear no, then you don't need to be afraid. Because obviously you've got your guardians watching you and everything, and there's plenty of guardians on those. There's billions of guardians on those dimensions. There's guardians all over the place. So, so there, yeah. My life is. I love tapping into different dimensions all the time. I don't sort of set my life by it, but I don't go a week in this human experience without going to 5, 6, 7, 7th dimension, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a week, depending on, every time I meditate, I'm on a different dimension. So, I love it. And you kind of, I don't know what it does to the soul, but it really, and that's the other thing. Like I'm psychology obviously is science of the soul, but I'm sort of a doctor of the soul. So it's like, there's a real weird replenishment of the soul every time I come back from obviously the higher dimensions. It's like, and I come back feeling like really light, and all of my silly little my human frustrations and my human fears, which are none of those, but annoyances, human annoyances created by other people, right? They're gone. One beautiful, amazing meditation session will remove all of that. So I do highly recommend. Meditation is amazing. But if you want to sort of connect to the different dimensions, so here's the other thing. I feel like this is the download that was coming in. There are people on this planet that are interdimensional bridges. I was discussing in, I believe it was my 7D, my 7th dimension video. There was people that they've been asking, obviously higher. They're trying to figure out how to build the interdimensional bridge. Or when I went to a high dimension, went 6th dimension, the sources there were telling me they don't need to build it. You can't build it with quantum mechanics and stuff like that. You don't need to. She is the bridge protector. That's exactly the message that came through. Now, I always like to sort of go back and ask more questions, but the question, what I'm getting was, and I feel like that's the download because I'm talking about dimensions, was there's people on this planet like me, very highly ascended, there's many of us. There's not just me. There's a lot of us, right? We are what is known as the interdimensional bridges. We bridge the the multi-dimensions to the 3D. The interdimensional bridges, people wanting knowledge. They want to build a bridge to the dimensions, right? To the interdimension, whatever it is that they're trying to think they're doing. But everything has to be physical, scientists, like everything has to be proven. That's not how this reality works. I don't like to focus on those scientists because they're all about proof and they need physical proof. When you do what we do, you might not get that. You're going to have to open your mind. They don't even have open minds, first of all. So, because otherwise they wouldn't be so focused on physical evidence, right? But I know that there's something to do with they're trying to create access to the bridge to the interdimensional bridge, and it's like there's many of us we are the bridge to that different levels of consciousness, to the different dimensions. People like me are the literal bridges to the dimensions that they want to build a bridge to walk across, right? This is where we're going with it. They think they have to build this bridge. Just think of 4, right? When you watch the movie 4, there's that bridge. Okay, to the different realms. They think that they can build that and they're going to be able to walk across it and go and knock on the door at that side and go, hi, we're humans, we're human scientists, and we'd like some data, we'd like some information on whatever it is we're working on. You're not going to get that. That's not how, no. You just need people, you need to connect with people who are the interdimensional bridges that are already constantly on those higher dimensions, actively, constantly getting the data. Now, when you have those sort of people on your teams, right, your intentions can be, we need data, okay, as long as it's not going to do harm to another human being, that person can go to your bridge, your own dimensional bridge that you've contracted, right, is now going to go to those higher dimensions with the intention of wanting that knowledge. If those higher sources are like, yeah, we don't have a problem with that, you're going to get it. And if they go, cough, you're going to hurt each other with it. I don't think so. No, you're not ready for that yet. You're going to get that response. That's what most humans, arrogant human scientists and stuff like that, don't want to hear. That's the problem. So, and because of that, and the knowing of that, they want to build something physically to bypass, and I don't think so. So even if they were to build a physical interdimensional bridge, right, and still knock on the door and go, okay, we built this bridge, we're going to bypass the, we know you're going to say no to us, blah, blah. I'm being sarcastic right now, but we're going to try and come in the back door. Every single intention, every single thought, every single everything's seen, heard, plotted, thought of, everything, every intention on 3D is heard, seen on 5D and all the higher dimensions, right? Nothing, no. So keep your thoughts clean and good. The problem with why people don't like to believe in dimensions and what I'm discussing is because it would freak them out. The natural reaction is to go, oh my God, we're not alone then. No, we never were and we never will be. Get that right out your head. That will help you wake up. But, oh my God, so we're constantly being watched. Yeah. We're monitored by our own people, right? You should be worried about them because they're the ones with the very dark, ill intentions behind their spying shit, right? But there's interdimensions and the higher dimensions and there's different species. They're not there they're trying to help us, not harm us. We're the ones harming each other. Nobody else, not these higher dimensional sources and beings. They're highly advanced. They're not like us. They don't think like us. They don't want to kill us every other week. Now, if you're talking about lower dimensional beings, like the reptilians that everybody knows of, right? They're the ones that would eat us in a split second, right? Because we're their food chain. So there are some lower vibrational frequency energies on this planet downstairs. Lower dimensions, right? They're the ones you need to be worrying about. So, but it's this fear factor of, well, I'm not ready to believe that yet. Well, that's okay. You're not ready to wake up then. Until you have a sort of experience with something you can't understand. But I would rather constantly live on, or not live. Well, yeah. I mean, my life is around multi-dimensions as well as the 3D. But when I can get away from 3D, my mind is away from 3D. The moment I've got some relaxation time, I'm off this planet. I'm serious. My mind is not here because it's horrible. It's a horrible place. It's full of shitty people. This planet is beautiful. It's amazing. It's a people problem. So if you can allow the mind to escape this 3D, you'll appreciate coming back to it when you come back. But that's just my stance on this. That's it. That's just my my thoughts and opinions on it. But every single sort of dimension is different, and it's hard. A lot of it is like I say, I can go to like a white room. I can go to. I mean, there's so much colours. I mean, some dimensions are very like whoa. Can't even explain it because there's nothing down here on this planet that comes close to it. Which is probably why I love the sunshine, which is why I love bold colours, which you'll see me in bright colours, because there's just something about, and it does help with the moods too. So if you're feeling a bit low, if you're feeling a bit blue one day, you put some bright colour on your body somewhere in clothing, and immediately your mind will just improve. It will it'll brighten your mood up a little bit. Colour psychology is everything, but I don't know, maybe that's why I have such a weird fascination, because when I go to certain dimensions, and it's not just one dimension that's colourful and bright, it's multiple. Depends on what you're experiencing on them. But I love bright colours, as you can see. My nails, I love some really bright, I just love colours, you know. There's my green. My green is my aura. It's the colour of my green is my erotic. Oh, hello. No. It's my aura healing. It's my healing aura. So usually when you're receiving like butterfly Karen's healing at a distance, and you'll see the light force first, obviously, but then you're going to see a big ball of green. That's when you know it's mine. So, but green, yeah. I mean, that's my favorite color anyway, as most people know. Yeah, I mean, but then again, my aura is really weird, because sometimes if you're sort of watching me, there'll be an emanation of gold and yellows and orange, and it's like, really. So you'd probably, if I didn't have a green background, you'd probably be able to see the green emanating from those too. And if you watch some of my videos, you'll see my aura like, it just emanates off me. But that's normal, because that's my energy. But yeah, some dimensions are really beautiful though. It's just hard to, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go back. But I don't worry about coming back because I mean, I love my earthly planet. Obviously, it's where I'm from here in this life experience. But I know, knowing what I know and understanding what I work with, I don't fear my death date coming at all because I'm certainly not going anywhere lower than here at all. Joking, right? I'm going to go very high. Hopefully home to that highest dimension. And that can be your version of heaven, your version of paradise. It could be your version of Valhalla. So, yeah. So, I mean, I love it when I come across people who already are actively hanging out on different dimensions, and it's really cool to sort of meet people and come across people. Oh God, yeah, I'm always hanging out on like 7D, and I'm like, oh, really? What's your experience with it? Then we have a conversation. It's like, oh yeah, you just want to stay, but you have to come back because it's your soul. Your soul is what's doing the transcendental meditation. Your soul is what's doing the mind travel. So you've got to make sure because you're always connected, but you just got to come back to your physical body. You know, it sucks, but it makes you appreciate. Okay, well, hopefully next time will be a bit longer. But you don't need to constantly astral travel to go to the dimensions. Once you know how to do it, you can just naturally connect. Your mind is connected anyway. Once you connect to those dimensions, you're never really not connected. It's just your intention today will be, I need to tap into 7D today. So your mind is going to naturally be it's going to be already activated and connected to 7D, even though you're here like, hi, right? But your mind is on the 7th dimension. So because you've set the intention, and you're probably going to get some data coming from the 7th dimension from, like, I feel like I have lots and lots of friends on different dimensions, but my sources, but it's really cool. I would love to be able to prove it. I really would, obviously. Anybody would. But it's one of those very complex things that can't be proven. I mean, we don't know what the future is going to hold, but if we wanted to, again, I don't even think you can build the technology to go to sort of these dimensions anyway. I really don't. I think you just got to open your mind right, and let your mind go there and see it for yourself. Then come back with that sort of different knowledge that you would never get here. I mean, I'm not into this whole space travel. I'm not into this whole like going to Mars and going to Mars and screwing up Mars. You're joking, right? Because the only thing humans are very good at is destroying everything we get. If we find something new, well, check that out. Okay, let's play with it and then let's destroy it, right? That's what we're good at. So if I want to go to Mars, I'll astrally travel there. If I want to go to any other planet, I'm probably going to astral travel there. You can go anywhere you want. That's the difference. That's mind travel. And it's not going to take me like 10, 15, 20 years to get there either. Human years. It's going to take me seconds. Once you set the intention, once you get to that state of consciousness and you're already moving, your soul is ready to travel. It's just multiple sort of like, you can call them portals, you can call them wormholes, you can call them gateways and everything. But it's just a case of, okay, let me go to, I'm just giving you an example. It's a Pluto, right? Well, you might not be able to interact on Pluto, but you might just find yourself, you're there and you're like, oh God. It's astral travel, time and space. You can experience so many different things. You can get a feeling of, if you were going to go to a different sort of planetary system, if you astral travel, you can get a good visual idea of what in the actual hell is going on here. This one's got water. This one's got mountains, right? This one's got, okay, data. You don't seriously think, yeah, systemized peoples on this planet don't actively train astral travelers for a reason, do you? Of course they do. It's for knowledge, it's for data. But it's hard to prove. So it can't be used as actual travel knowledge. But what you can do with that data is okay, well, it's a good chance that's like 10 billion light years away. However, this is what I was visually seeing and getting. So you might need, if you're going to build anything that you want to go there with, you're going to have to make sure it's equipped for this sort of atmospheric sort of, that sort of thing. You might end up on a planetary system, and you might end up on a planet where there's like dinosaurs or anything like still, and you're like, did I just go back in time? But it's all to do with, you know, I don't know. I know, but it's hard to explain. There's only so much there's only so much data we're going to get from higher sources anyway, because of our innate ability to use it productively. And it's because of our ability to abuse everything we get. And it's always to weaponize, to create weapons to hurt each other. So that's where the blockage is. That's why we need to build more. Okay, well, build more for what? You're not going to get the information and data you want because you're abusers. You're abusers of power. So a piece of data and information could be the most powerful thing to really push ahead in the future, to take us into the future. But rather than use that effectively, productively, they don't. Men and women don't. They go, okay, we can actually turn it into a weapon. Yeah. And that's when the data stops coming in. Because of you, fucking idiot people. Not because of different species or different highly intelligent species. None of that. It's because of you. Arrogance. Narcissistic psychopaths in human form. Too much knowledge, too much power. Okay, yeah, let's make billions and billions of, let's try and find a way to get trillions of dollars from the taxpayers, because we can't afford to create this weapon. We can't afford to create this equipment. That's why I'm saying I stay away from all of that, because it's just one big scam. But I understand why we're not going to get the knowledge most agencies and governments and scientists are wanting. They're not going to get it. You're not going to get it unless you change your mindset and stop abusing the information you do get. And maybe when you stop Einsteining people who are out there actively getting it for you, idiots, psychopaths. So, you never need to bizarre people. But this is the arrogance of the unhealthy ego, unfortunately. This is the arrogance of man and women, and it always has been, and it always will be. So, but I get, or it's just to keep the majority of the population enslaved again for money control and power. So it's just, there you go. I'm not quite sure. I feel like some of that information was coming from that download. That was interesting. So I think what I'll do is, like I say, in March, you're going to start seeing my weekly dimensional, interactive, remote viewing, dimensional videos, high dimensional videos, and what I'm experiencing, what's coming from them. But in the future, like what I might start doing is, when I start connecting to those dimensions and interacting with you guys and gals, I'll try and visually see. I'll try and get more visualizations of what I'm seeing and feeling. I mean, hearing is what I'm gathering, so you get to hear that anyway. But I'll try and explain more, rather than just gather the data and discuss, oh, what is this? I'm going to try and gather the visualizations of what's around, what I'm visually seeing. But I may have to put my mask on for that, though, my eye mask, because it blocks out external lights and everything here and stuff like that. I don't want to confuse it with that. And then feelings as well, so I can explain what it feels like to be connected to that dimension too. So that's what I'll do probably April onwards, when I start doing my interactive remote viewing sessions again on the dimensions. So I thought that was a little bit enlightening. I had a feeling that I was going to start discussing dimensions, and then I had a feeling downloads were going to come in, because I just felt like there was stuff waiting to like come in anyway. So it kind of sucks that I have to be that assertive And I don't like always being that assertive, but I have to with the mentalities we're dealing with today in society, because of they're either ignorant, the non-believers, they don't believe in anything. Well, we really don't care about those people anyway, so okay, that's fine, right? You can believe in what you want anyway. Or it's the debunkers. The debunkers even don't know half of what they're talking about these days. They'll just debunk anything that's not part of their gender anyway, so we don't care about the debunkers either. We don't do it for any of that. We're not here to appease anybody. We're here to gather data, bring it to the surface, and hopefully it goes, the right people get access to it. And okay, I was waiting. Oh my God. Especially when it's like, I was waiting for that. Oh my God, how did they know? If you're going to put the questions out in the universe and you're wanting to know something and you're actively putting it out there into the universe, be careful, because you're probably just going to get the answer and it's going to come from a messenger. That's what we are. That's kind of what we do. So be careful what you're wishing for and asking for, because you might get it. And you might not get it exactly when you want it, but you might just get it and go, oh my God, I was asking for that like 6-7 weeks ago. Yeah, well, there you go. Have at it. And it's up to you to, whatever the data was or the information you're waiting for was, hopefully you're not going to abuse it. So I hope that helps. I hope you enjoy March's dimensional series that's coming up. So, and then, and it's weird because there was so much happening from 5D to 6D, 7, 8, 9, and it was all always interflowing. It was like interconnectively flowing. A lot of the data I wasn't getting from 7D, most of it came in 8D, and that's how it was sort of continuous. That's kind of normal. Again, you can only be connected to those dimensions for a certain period of time because it can hurt the mind. And you start to get a brain headache, like, okay, I need to come back to this reality now, stay here for a while. So, there's pushing the limits, and then there's pushing the limits. And I don't have a problem pushing the limits. It's just I know when to stop and come back, that's all. So, and that's why you'll probably get more in the next one. And that's kind of how it flows too. So I hope you enjoy the series, and I hope you enjoy sort of watching me interactively remote viewing, and you're working with, I'm working hand and feet now. I hope you enjoy the interactive remote viewing sessions that you'll be visually watching me do. Yes, absolutely. Rather than just sort of do what I do and then put the video together completely different, different time, just get the data, then create the video, put the video out there for like 10, 20, 30 minutes, and boom, there's that. You just get to know what you get. You get to hear what I got. Well, this way you get to see me getting it. So the more interactive video sessions, video data. If there's anything that I need to hold back from those set, because there could be for my guys, and you're going to have to watch the series to understand who my guys are. But there might just be a few things here and there that I may come across I'm getting given, but I know that's for my guys only. So, but that's okay. I just go online with those guys once a month, ethically. But you'll have to watch the series to understand that. You'll learn about that in, I believe it's 60, 70, and you'll understand what I'm talking about then. So other than that, have a great day. I hope to see you here soon, and just keep coming back if I fascinate you a little bit at least, and hit that like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all again very soon.